first involvement with what is now the Promise Neighborhood was when my daughter started turning 4 and 5 years old. She's 5 now, and my wife and I had to start thinking about where are we going to send our daughter for kindergarten, and it sent us down this real rabbit hole of proficiency scores and test scores and disparity ratings in schools and stuff like that, and we found ourselves along with all these other parents in this world where we were really waking up to the fact that it was difficult for us to figure out which one of these buildings we can put our own child in and really be confident that she's going to come back out with the education that she needs for her future. So with my office, we started building, really engaging our school board members and our county commissioners, a couple of them, and our principals together in a conversation about how do we bring the city and the county and the schools and community partners together in sort of a new partnership to support education in our city in a brand new way. And that's the plan that we ended up writing our Promise Neighborhood grant around.
We were one of 21 recipients of the Promise Neighborhood throughout the country that received the Promise Neighborhood grant. We got a grant of $500,000, and then we received an additional $175,000 in matching funds and in-kind money from various agencies throughout St. Paul. The Promise Neighborhood is about having cradle-to-career seamless coordination from within a community. We want to make sure that we provide every opportunity for a child to be successful in school and in life, and also making sure that we utilize all the resources that are within the community so we can maximize what needs to be in place for individuals to be successful from cradle to career.
Like I think a lot about, well, what is the promise? And I think the promise is, like when I really think about it, it's the promise and the hope that that these children in our community can become someone that we are all really proud of, that contribute to this community at some future point. And that's a long-term investment.
The Promise Neighborhood is probably the biggest opportunity our community has ever seen. We've got light rail coming in right now. We've got a lot of investment in this community, a lot of eyes on this community. And one of the big questions is, all the resources and all the investment that's coming into this community, will those investments be made in a way that the people, the individuals, the residents, the businesses who have sort of already planted their lives, already planted their fortunes on University Avenue, will they be able to stay and enjoy those benefits and enjoy that improved community? My strategy to make sure that the answer to that is yes is to make sure that our children who are growing up now are better educated than us, better prepared, a better trained workforce, ready to make more money and make better decisions with that money than their parents and their grandparents.
We are the only neighborhood that has African Americans, Asian Pacific Islander, Hmong, Hispanic Latinos, Caucasian. We have what the moral fiber is of what they talk about in the United States. We have what everybody wants to do, is how we can collectively work together, how we can be respectful towards each other, and how we can be successful together. That's what America is. The land of the free. Our minds are free enough to open up and do whatever we want to, but the land of the brave, where people have to be brave enough to step out their comfort zone to be successful, but you gotta want to be successful. That's what I envision of the Promise Neighborhood. 35% of the population is 19 and younger within the Promise Neighborhood, and also 9% of the population is 5 years old and younger. So what they want to do is to make sure that they could possibly have an opportunity to work effectively with individuals within the Summer University in the Frogtown area, and make sure that everybody had an opportunity to be successful through education.
I believe that children are the best investment that we can possibly make, that they actually are the future of this community, and that they're going to really drive all the creative ideas, all the innovation. The founder of YouTube actually went to Central High School. You know, and I just think, wow, look at that.
Schools can't solve it all. We're such a small part of it that it has to be all the community pieces coming together. What are we doing in terms of providing stability for our children outside of the school day? What are we doing in terms of ensuring that as our children are born and as they're raised to school age, where's the stability and what's being provided in those environments? And we know with poverty that our families struggle on a variety of issues, whether it's employment, whether it's housing, nutrition, all kinds of things. And so what can we do to bring that stability to the community is a huge piece of what's going to happen with the Promise neighborhood. And if we can get that right, then I believe all the other work that's being done in terms of learning campuses, in terms of creating a community school model here, and all of that will really take off. But we've got to have that initial stability within the community.
The biggest challenge of the Promise neighborhood is convincing the people who live in these communities that we're really going to keep our promises this time. I think there's a lot of people not too far from where we're sitting today who have heard promises from government. They've heard promises from public agencies. They've heard promises from public officials and leaders, and they haven't seen those promises come to fruition. I think the promise that we need to be making is that we're not going to accept the achievement gap, we're not going to accept low proficiency rates, and we're going to keep on pushing, keep on moving, keep on trying stuff until we figure out the set of solutions that works. The biggest challenge is really engaging the people who we need, whose confidence we need in order to succeed, to come back to the table, despite maybe the disappointment they felt the last time they were at this same, or similar table, and come back to the table with the confidence that we really are here to stay and we really are here to serve this community.
The greatest detriment to this being successful in any way is the adults who are engaged setting aside organizational and personal self-interest to really put children first.
We'll be robbing our children and our grandchildren not to embark on the next adventure because of the disappointment that we felt in the past.
We know that we need to change, and change requires a lot of overcoming resistance and barriers.
Just up the street, we've got Rondo Library, which is one of our busiest libraries in our citywide system. It's busy not necessarily because it's got the most people coming in and out. They don't have the most books getting checked out. A lot of those people are coming in because they're logging onto our computers and looking for jobs. It's become one of our most active job search centers in the entire neighborhood. Right now, computers are required to do your homework. They're required to find a job. They're required to communicate the way folks are communicating these days. And understanding computers and knowing how to access the internet and all the information that's there is absolutely critical to our children's ability to get a job and succeed long term. So I think if we want our children to be able to succeed and compete in the global economy that we're walking into right now, they have to be computer literate.
It's a communication tool. We also have a digital divide when we talk about poverty, and so how are we addressing people's ability to access resources and to learn about resources?
I think about technology as having multiple parts. There's the hardware, that you have yourself, which certainly there needs to be more of, but our public libraries are a great resource for doing that. There's the content and learning, which is some of what we're doing with the Mobile Resource Center at the Wilder Foundation, because what we do is actually take the technology, the hardware, and the learning out to different groups, primarily supportive housing services. And there's that third piece, which is being networked and connected to others in virtual communities, which may enhance the knowledge that kids have or parents have about the resources that are out there and that are actually available. And that piece is really not only about understanding the technology, but applying the technology in ways that are going to be beneficial to families. So I see it as just huge. And wireless technology and all of that will, I think, be a really important part of of how we bring this together. Not just the data, but the hardware, the learning, all of that.
You can tutor in one of the schools. We'll be launching a tutor drive very soon. You can volunteer for one of the neighborhood groups. We're doing neighborhood cleanups and all those type of things. You don't even have to do something huge and formal either. You can just pick up some trash when you see some trash on the street. Pick up some trash. When you introduce yourself to your neighbor. But the whole point of this is creating a community that really takes responsibility for itself and responsibility for its children and their education. Again, it's not a brand new idea. The truth is, it's actually a really, really old idea.
And whatever you can contribute in terms of effort, time, resources, money, even this kind of thing, gets us closer to what it means.
If you sit back and wait, then it won't be that opportunity. I think the biggest thing we have to know about the Promise Neighborhood is that it's ours. That it's ours to make sure that it succeeds, to make sure that it reflects community values, to make sure that it serves our children, and to make sure that it's here to stay. It's a long-term focus, a long-term investment, and just not a fly-by-night initiative. If we take that type of ownership over it, then we can't be disappointed because we'll be the ones driving it.
Since I've been given an opportunity to work with the Promise Neighborhood, I'm always going to make sure that everyone's voice is being heard, and I want to treat people with dignity and respect, but I want honesty. I want to have honest conversations with people. We may tend to agree or disagree, but I want honest conversations because we have to get it right. Because if we don't get it right, then therefore that's another generation that's going to say, well, why didn't these adults, or why didn't the community members, or why didn't the professionals in this area here choose to believe in us so we can be successful?
One thing I'd want people to know is that it's a community-wide effort, that it's not about one organization or another having the fame or the glory or all these other things. Really, it's about having a vision for this community, and then having a plan behind that, and then taking actions to do what all of us can to actually make a difference in the lives of kids so that they can be successful from cradle to career.
I want them to have jobs, I want them to have careers, and I want people to feel good about themselves and realize that their community did love and care about them when people said that they couldn't be successful, but they were able to find success in many different ways in life. And we need to create avenues and open up doors for people.
The seed has got to be planted at some point for a tree to grow. And this is the seed. So I feel like I'm part of a seed that's been planted, and that maybe I had a part in shaping the DNA of that seed, and that's really what our role is, and that's pretty exciting. I'm excited about the possibilities of what could happen in the St. Paul Promise neighborhoods. And we all need something to believe in and to work towards, and I think this is a wonderful thing to work towards in the city of St. Paul.
My vision is to create the type of community where our children have every opportunity in the world to go anywhere, live anywhere, be anything, be anywhere they want to be, while simultaneously building the type of community that they'll look all over the world and choose home.